So today we're going to continue Hilchais washing dishes. And the yontif that we have is we're going to discuss sponges. The Siyata Dishmaya. And we'll first read the text. Then we'll do the science fair experiments. And then we'll see what the Ilm decides. So we start with Sifyo discusses again other cleaning agents. We don't really have these things. You're mixing some dry material and it's making a thick material. We don't have this. Even your hands are you're wet. It's not derech lisha. Again, I don't really think we have anything like this. So let's move on. Semer plada. Semer plada. What is semer plada? No. What is semer plada? No. What's plada? Semer plada. Either you click it into the dictionary. I can tell you what I believe it is. I believe it's steel wool. But let's. Semer plada. Semer plada. No, I believe it's steel wool. I didn't get a moment to look at this beforehand. I apologize. Not here? Okay, someone please look it up on, someone please dictionary me. Semer plada. Semer plada, osir l'ishtamish, you're not allowed to use it on Shabbos. Steel wool, okay, I just looked it up, it's steel wool. Semer plada, steel wool, osir l'ishtamish, v'lenikal kli mitzvach. You're not allowed to use steel wool on Shabbos, being Shabbos, being b'yantav. Period. Why not? So Laman Hey, he says, it scrubs off part of the kelim. It shines the kelim. Ayin simin shinchav gil mishtabura. Shamat misham zalmin. Ayin sishacham tisru misham schita. Ayin misham of the dechol. Okay, so steel wool. Yeah, what is steel wool? Kliya mitbach. Mitbach is your kitchen. Lenakui kliya mitbach, your kitchen utensils. You're not allowed to use steel wool. Okay, either because it's absorbent or because it's ovdin dechol. I know steel wool is used to like scrub off like very strong things. Like mamish scrapes it. It's actually, they say, made out of some form of steel bristles, etc., etc. Says it's steel wool, exactly. La'uma zois. What are you allowed to use? With products mechomer, which are manufactured synthetic, hamyuchadim lekach, loy moitzer sfagi, not sponge items. So a synthetic item you're allowed to use, not a sponge item. Im zifei hamoitzar mufradim ze mize. If the zifei of the moitzer, now what's the zifei? So zifei means the bristles. If the bristles of the product are separated one from another, ve'inon esfufim harbe, and they're not very close. Safuf means the two things close to each other. Einon sfufim harbe, va'afilu kshem retuvim, even when they're wet, they can't be close to each other. Ba'asher l'moitzer mechemer sintati sifugiyim, so we just had three categories. Steel wool is aser. We had synthetic sponges is mutter. Synthetic sponges with closed bristles is a problem. Let's keep on going and we're going to explain as we go. When it comes to Sif Yud Beis, he continues and he says, aser laharta b'Shabbos b'yantav svuga matlis. You're not allowed to make, let's leave Sif Yud Beis. Let's go to, I'm trying to give a full picture over here. So when you look at the aras and what we just learned. So we said Semer Plada. When you look at Lamed Vav, he sends you to, he says, Ayin V'Shulchan Aruch. It's about Ar. And Ar, leather, is Bailea Ma'at. Ma'ashein Gumi, which is like a rubber, V'Chaymer Sintati, and synthetic materials, She'enon Boilin Klau. That's why they're mutter. Ayin lahalon ha'ara mem vav. Ayin mechazitzik, that is machmer. Okay, so we have to go look at ha'ara mem vav. So we go to ha'ara mem vav. So in order to learn ha'ara mem vav, let's learn the sif of it, which is sif tes vav. Okay? So it says sif tes vav. So far we know three items. It says sif tes vav. Mut l'shamish m'vashit v'isha balasir. It's rakois. You're allowed to use a brush with soft bristles, l'nikoi bakbuk, to clean a bottle. If you want to use a wet brush, or there's water inside, mutav, it's better. To use a brush that has synthetic bristles, that the bristles are not very close. So now we're going to understand what's with this bristles being close situation. So in Ha'ara Memvav, he says, Ayin Kseisa Shochan, Igris Maisha, Sha'izim Resh Regila, Mishab Usr Schita. Okay, so we're dealing with Schita. So what's Schita? Schita is that when you squeeze something, liquid comes out. Ladas Shem Zalman. If the bristles are separated, and they're not literally like one item, and the water comes out even without squeezing it, then with synthetic bristles. So he just told us the qualifications are that if they're separated enough, that the liquid comes out on its own. Meir, who's a Srideish? Thank you. Who was he? Most notably known for? Which was what? Written where? Very good. Yes. Says Shlomo Zalman, there's another heter here. There's a handle. Whenever something has a handle, it's kill tefei, which is a different halacha which we're not getting involved in right now. That's a different story, which we're not going to talk about today either. Maybe tomorrow. Memvav shamati megun shem zaman arbach. Again, that if the bristle is very close, it's aser. And nothing changes from the water that goes in. And the holes, the halal is the cavity between the bristles on the brush, nikarim la'ayin, are recognizable to the eye. Then gumi, it's like a small pipe, that you're pouring water through it. There's no problem of schita. Vadiv tfei, me'ar, and me'sairis. Good. Period. So let's give one word of background. What's the iser schita? You say I should have given the word of background before we started. Okay. Schita. There's two levels of schita. What do you say? You look at the future. There's two levels of schita. The schita daraisa, which is on what? Anything which is baileya, anything which absorbs, which is called your shirt. Your shirt gets wet, you squeeze out your shirt, it's aser. So much so is there an isser of schita on there, it's even aser to make it wet, which is a separate isser that we're going to have to get to. But to take a towel and squeeze out the towel, it's an isser daraisa and Shabbos. Maybe you don't need the water, maybe it makes it into the rabbanan, but lemaisa, that is aser. Once you have something that is synthetic items don't absorb. So what's the problem? The problem is it isser rabbanan called schitas seyar. That's why he keeps on comparing these three items. That if your hair gets wet and you squeeze out your hair, that's an isser dirabanan. Why is it also dirabanan? Hair is not absorbent, by the way. What do you mean it's not absorbent? It holds water. The answer is yes. How does it hold the water? It holds it because the hairs are safuf. Your hairs are very close to each other. And when you put a lot of items very, very close to each other, a miracle happens and water gets stuck in between it. It's closer than the particles of water, and therefore it's stuck in between. Is your hair properly actually boilea? The answer is no, it doesn't absorb anything. But between all the hairs, the water gets stuck, and when you squeeze it, it comes out. So says Shemiras Shabbos, if I have something that's synthetic, so I'm out of the deraisa, but now I have to ask myself, does it hold water? And that's why in Ha'ara Memhei Memvav, he taught us very simply. He's talking about a bottle brush. And a bottle brush, usually bottle brushes are made with the bristles are separated far from each other. And therefore, there will be no problem. A bottle brush, a toilet brush, similarly, usually the bristles are separated. In contrast, a toothbrush is already getting closer. Toothbrush is already getting closer. You put your toothbrush under the sink and you take it out. It does hold some water. Some will say it doesn't. Okay. Yesh Latan on a toothbrush, but we know that a toothbrush already, Ramesha was machmer on the schita of the toothbrush. We're not talking about brushing your teeth and things like that. We're just talking about the schita aspect, that it holds in the water, and then when you brush it, the water could come out. So now the question is, what do you do with synthetic sponges? They make sponges for Shabbos. So if you get a good old-fashioned Shabbos sponge, what is it? Basically, what it looks like is pieces of plastic, which are just like jumbled together. And when you put them underwater, what happens when you pick it up? Nothing. There's no water inside. It's basically the same thing as cleaning with a plastic bag. If you were to take a plastic bag and just put it on your hand or a plastic glove and you scrub with it, that's what those sponges are. Just when you put a lot of different items together, it gives you some scrubbing power, but it doesn't hold any water inside it. So the question is, what about the Heilige Scrub Daddy? What are the Heilige Scrub? Now, one should be careful because we all know they sell kosher Scrub Daddies. What does that mean? They market them as kosher. What does it mean they market them as kosher? From your faces, I'm surprised that you're not holding. They sell them in 3 colors. This is obviously why we're learning this right now, because this is pursuant to Isser V'Heter. They sell it in red and blue, and I think the other one is green. They do. No. But they market them as kosher as... You could do your research and you'll Timsa Nachas afterwards. But yes, don't buy the kosher ones. Good. So now this item, and I did confirm with the rabbinic source. No, but I confirmed with the rabbinic source for you, Mayor, just so that because the way you do tests, someone afterwards says, you didn't do it right. So therefore, I asked someone with a big beard, someone that's respected. We can tell you all the name afterwards, and we'll see if I have, let's see. So here is the Scrub Daddy. I'll tell you afterwards. Let's get there. So Shlomo Zalman taught me that I have to be able to see through it. So you can see through the eyes, which are made for the
fingers. No, yes, that's fingers. Sir.
Oh, you're reading the thing? And I can see through the mouth, which is made for the very good, all the crazy people that we have amongst us. And I even asked someone that has one in his house. So it's not, you can't say, oh, you asked Rav Chai Ganievsky and they played with it in front of him and they showed him what it does. And therefore he said it's something. Let's get there. So here it is. So the miracle of this is they say it changes between cold and hot, right? Good. So we're going to start with cold, because if you start with hot, what happens next? It doesn't become cold. So if you see on the packaging, it says when it's cold, it stays firm. It stays firm. Stays firm. B'shafa. Let's try to. This is. We're going to get there. No. We're going to do what we do in Shabbos. So we take this thing and we put it in water because we want to see what it does. Okay? Put it in water. No. I understand what you're about to ask. Even very careful. You're about to ask. On Shabbos, you don't do that. A sponge, you might also submerge in water.
It has to be.
Oh, okay.
So you're probably using cold water.
Yeah. Great. So we take this item. Now we pick it up. The question is, did all the water come out? I don't know. Let's see. I don't think all the water came out. I don't think the computer, don't worry, the computer is okay. I just feel bad that those in camera didn't get to experience what we just experienced together. So let's allow everyone else to experience this again. So when we put this in the water, so you pick it up. So Shlomo Zalman actually taught us, because he said you have to be able to see through it. And this is what we would call safaf harbe. When you squeeze it, I think there's a lot of water coming out of it. So now it actually is still pretty firm. So they say when you add hot water in, it stays firm. It's a beautiful cleaning. Everyone, Shalom Bayis, public service announcement. Everyone should be buying multiples for your wife. No, milchiks, leishiks, parav, because the chavri here has like 16 ketchups and 25 salt shakers. Next week we'll talk about that in Isser V'Heter here. Good. Now I have to squeeze out all the thing.
Why would you want soft?
It's not that hot, don't worry. It's not that hot. It's still pretty hot. I am burning my fingers. I'm just pretending like I'm not. Obviously. Okay, we're about to spill. So now, it's not that much softer, by the way.
It's not fair.
Hold on. So it's empty. No.
It's not a fair test.
Just empty the bucket. It's a bit softer. I use them every day. Empty the bucket.
Like soft, like mushy in your
Oh, yeah. Oh, now it's getting good, guys. Ooh, wow. But anyways, the point of the story is, I'll let you all play with it in a second. Point of the story is, this thing here holds water. So what we see here is a miracle. I'll be honest. This is why we set to play with it, is because when you describe this thing to us, it was described as a synthetic sponge. And everyone should listen, because everyone asks what sponges to buy on Shabbos. And we always say you don't need to have one with hechsher. It's famous raid in Eretz Yisrael, how the Padat put a hechsher, and Dayan Padwa said you don't need to have hechsher, but he signed on the hechsher. Some Gishmak Eretz Yisrael to raid Ayin Sham. But we always say you don't need a hechsher. Why spend extra money on the hechsher? I mean, it's nice to support the hechsher people, but you don't need to. And rather, what do we say? We say just buy one that's synthetic. But now what they've created here is a miracle. What they've created here is, even though it's synthetic, but it's as connected as a regular sponge. It doesn't stop, by the way. This holds a ton of water. And therefore, Lemaisa, this would be forbidden to use on Shabbos, B'siyata Dishmaya.